the building that we're about to go in was actually built to resemble a temple. The Grand Tour was a kind of rite of passage from the sort of 17th and 18th century onwards for wealthy young men to spend time travelling around Europe to kind of take in the culture, the architecture, the history, the art, and then to come back. And so many of our fine buildings of this period, of the Georgian period, a little bit preceding that, are influenced by travels overseas, and probably none more so than York's assembly rooms. Leslie's been in the assembly rooms, had a fantastic meal. It's Ask Pizzeria, an Italian restaurant. It's a fantastic place to come. This was designed by Richard Burlington, who was an incredibly fashionable architect of his day. Designed the Burlington Arcade in Mayfair. And basically, the reason behind this building, when it was sort of built in the 1730s, was to create a meeting place for the northern elite, the aristocracy, the gentry, the very, very well-to-do, as a place to come together, to socialise, to play cards. I'll show you in a minute the card playing rooms to the sides, but a place to be seen, and also to bring out your daughters. York was the home of the northern season, so a season, of course, being sort of 4 months of events where the well-to-do of North and England, Britain, would come just with their finery, a different dress every night. You couldn't be seen in the same outfit twice. You imagine the costs involved of having a season. But this was a key destination to meet and greet, to find a fellow of means, because of course the best way to cement wealth was to marry it. Put two families together with wealth, cement that wealth, and you got a really great way for kind of advancing, but also coordinating us to cementing that wealth. So he's now the Ask Italian restaurant. We'll go and pop into the main parts. I've got the columns in a minute. But before we do, just to show you the kind of side rooms. So the rooms here were built for card gambling. Very, very fashionable pursuits in the early part of the 18th century. And of course, lots and lots of fortunes could be lost. Not many were won, it has to be said. There's very few people that have won fortunes in gambling, but many have lost them. Many a dowager aunt has burned through the inheritance only for those who think they're about to inherit a huge pile and a big load of cash. Will actually find themselves to be rather disappointed finding out everything was mortgaged because the dowager aunt had a weakness for sitting at the tables in rooms like this and leveraging their future on the turn of a carpet. Isn't it just beautiful? Look at the floor here. We've got a stone floor. So Richard Burlington, as I say, he was a really kind of fashionable architect of his day, and he, was commissioned to build something that had the X factor, the wow factor. Mitch's saying about the chandelier. Everything is just grander than grand. This was serious, serious money. This is kind of what you build when money is no object. So this would normally be, this kind of grandeur you'd normally find in London, but it was at a time where there was such was the wealth in the north that there was no real need, if you like, for them to go to London. And London was a very uncomfortable 4J coach journey at this time. On horrible bumpy roads, you might meet a highwayman like Dick Turpin or Claude Duval en route. So rather than make this enormously long journey to London, why not have a second place for society in the north? That place, of course, was York. And so this assembly rooms, this place of coming together, is reflected here in the grandeur. And as Leslie says, you can now come and have fantastic food. So, like so many of the best buildings in York, it has found, not a secondary use, but a continuing use. And so people are in here every day. It's used, of course, as the best way of looking after these old buildings, is to use them, to live in them, and to kind of enjoy the interiors. So again, just look at the quality of the porticos above the doorways. I think that's the word porticos, I'm not sure, but if it's not, I apologise. But the grandeur is there to see. The double doors, of course, being able to be opened to allow people in and through. Again, look at this for interior design, very opulent. Isn't that something? And again, I haven't even really got into the main bit yet, which I'm about to take us into now. I'm cautious that people are dining, and I don't want to put in them in any way sort of into the camera. So we'll go around the edges, but now I just want to show you the columns and the ceilings that really are absolutely phenomenal. Quality up at the top. So it's opulence on opulence. There is kind of, there's nothing here other than the best of the best. Italian at marble, coming close on some of these. And you really get a sense of this just being built where money just wasn't an object. It is absolutely, but interestingly, famously designed by a man. The women complained that actually these columns were too narrow, they were too close together. And actually what he couldn't do was get your big hooping crinoline dresses in amongst them. So whilst they were designed for society and ladies to come out and wear fantastic clothes, they weren't actually especially practical for that, which is it's a lovely bit of history, but aren't they just something? So I know there's a few dead spots on the internet around here, so I'm just going to kind of keep moving. And again, I'm just going to go around the edges so we're not getting in the way of people dining. We don't want to make them feel self-conscious, but isn't it just fabulous? So as I say, this is for the wealthiest of the wealthy. This is where you'd come to do your kind of Bridgerton, get all dressed up, and whether it be an army officer, you know, a son of the aristocracy, the gentry, rich man, this is where you'd come and parade, show off your best. And then we look at the size, look at the height of this door here. We just kind of pan up to a bit, slight wobble there. We'll reset the gimbal as we're walking down towards the next one. Look at that for height. Everything is just on a super kind of dramatic scale. And you just get that sense of, look at that, let me show you this. Isn't that something? It is so, so beautiful. Everything about it, it just screams opulence. But also good taste as well. You know, it is relatively well restrained. I mean, it's not at all restrained really, but equally, it's done so well, it'd be churlish to complain about over-decoration when you've got something that is, you know, on this kind of scale and magnitude. I think it really is. Just look at the you only imagine the cost of this marble. And again, the side rooms. So we're kind of going on the kind of perimeter because what I don't want to do is walk obviously through the middle of the restaurant. People are eating their meals, but hopefully just to give you a sense of just quite how stupendous it really is. As I said, this is an incredible place to come and eat. So not only is the food great, service lovely, you are doing so in one of the finest buildings in the country, not just one of the finest buildings in York, one of the finest buildings in the country, bar none. The assembly rooms captures a moment with England at its richest. Very unequal distribution of wealth, don't kid yourself. Most people were not wealthy, but for those that were, could enjoy you know, a lifestyle that, you know, would just make us gasp now in terms of, you know, servants and flunkies on hand to meet every need. And all they had to do was worry about getting dressed up, coming down and parading and thinking about how to make conversation, how to find Mr. Right, or perhaps Captain Right, or Lord Right, or whatever it may be. But that was the concerns of the days when this was built, and I think it's fair to say it has stood the test of time.